Echoes of the Past series, Book 2. Echoes of the Past, The Shattered Veil, Chapter 1. The hull of the Coalition starship, Resolute, glided silently through the dark expanse, its matte black surface absorbing the distant starlight. Inside, Commander Elara Voss stood in the dimly lit command center, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. The low hum of the engines was a steady reminder of their mission's urgency. "Commander." Lieutenant Kale Draven's voice broke the silence, his tone calm, yet with an edge that hinted at the pressure they all felt. "We've received new intel from our outpost on Epsilon Prime. It seems the Xel'Naga Dominion is mobilizing near the artifact's last known location." Elara turned to face him, her expression unreadable. "How reliable is this intel, Kale?" Kale met her gaze, his demeanor as enigmatic as ever. "The source has been dependable in the past, but given our current circumstances, I would advise caution." "Understood," Elara replied tersely. Trust was a rare commodity these days, and even Kale, with his sharp intellect and strategic insight, was not immune to her suspicion. "Prepare a briefing for the team. We need to be ready to move at a moment's notice." As Kale nodded and left to fulfill her orders, Elara allowed herself a brief moment of introspection. The artifact had become an obsession for many, its power rumored to be capable of altering the very fabric of space-time. Securing it before the Xel'Naga Dominion could harness its potential was imperative, yet the path to it was shrouded in uncertainty and betrayal. The door slid open again, and Dr. Kalen Rice entered, his presence a mix of eagerness and distraction. "Commander Voss," he began, his voice tinged with a scholarly enthusiasm that often bordered on impatience. "I've been analyzing the latest data on the artifact's energy signatures. There's something unusual about its oscillation patterns." Elara raised an eyebrow. "Unusual how?" Dr. Reese leaned over the console, pulling up a series of complex graphs. "These frequencies suggest that it's interacting with its environment in ways we haven't seen before. It could mean anything," Elara cut in, her voice firm but not unkind. "Right now, we need certainty, Kalen. Speculation won't help us against the Dominion." Kalen hesitated, then nodded, though his eyes still flickered with curiosity. "Of course, Commander, but if I may suggest, this could be crucial in understanding how to control it." "Focus on what we can act upon," she replied, turning back to the display. "We move out once Kale has briefed us on the situation." Dr. Rice left, leaving Elara alone once more with her thoughts. The burden of command weighed heavily on her shoulders, each decision a potential fulcrum upon which entire worlds balanced. Hours later, in the briefing room, Elara addressed her assembled team. The atmosphere was tense, charged with anticipation and unspoken fears. "The situation has escalated," she began, her voice cutting through the low murmur of conversation. "Our objective remains unchanged. Locate and secure the artifact before it falls into enemy hands." Kale stepped forward, projecting a holographic map into the air between them. "Based on recent movements and intercepted communications," he explained, "we believe the Xel'Naga are planning a strike here, at this outpost." A murmur ran through the room as operatives exchanged glances. Elara studied their faces, reading their thoughts as much as listening to their words. "What's our tactical advantage?" Lieutenant Mara Voss asked, her voice steady despite the tension. "We know their approach vectors," Kale answered smoothly. "With precise timing, we can set up an ambush here and here." He indicated 2 points on the map. Elara nodded approvingly. "We'll divide into 3 squads. Lieutenant Draven will lead Alpha Team. I'll take Beta. Mara, you handle Gamma." As they discussed strategy and logistics, Elara watched Kale closely. His calm demeanor never wavered, yet there was something unsettling about his detachment, a subtle distance that kept her on edge. Once the briefing concluded and her team dispersed to prepare for departure, Elara lingered behind with Kale. "Do you trust this intel?" she asked quietly once they were alone. Kale paused before answering, a flicker of something inscrutable passing over his features. "I trust that it's all we have," he said finally. Their eyes met, a silent understanding passing between them, an acknowledgement of the precarious balance they maintained between necessity and doubt. "Stay close," she instructed softly. "We can't afford any surprises." Kale nodded solemnly. "Understood." As Elara watched him leave, she felt the weight of their mission pressing down upon her like never before. The shadows in the void seemed to close in around them, whispering secrets and lies in the language only war could speak. The countdown to catastrophe ticked relentlessly forward, each second a reminder of what was at stake, not just for them, but for countless lives across galaxies unknown. Elara steeled herself against the rising tide of uncertainty. She had been here before, poised on the brink of disaster, with only her wits and resolve to guide her through. This time would be no different. Or so she hoped. In the cold silence of space, where predators lurked unseen and danger loomed large in every shadowy corner of their universe, it was time to act decisively or face annihilation. The Resolute moved into position as ordered, their course set toward destiny or destruction, as they prepared for whatever awaited them beyond those darkened stars. And amidst it all, amidst betrayal's whispers and courage's roar, Commander Elara Voss stood ready at last to confront whatever fate held next within its grasping hands. Chapter 2. The cold hum of the starship's engines reverberated through the steel corridors, a constant reminder of their precarious journey through the void. Commander Elara Voss stood in the dimly lit command center, her gaze fixed on the holographic display before her. Stars twinkled with false serenity, masking the turmoil that churned beneath their light. "Commander," Lieutenant Kale Draven's voice cut through the silence. He approached with the quiet confidence of someone accustomed to navigating the labyrinthine corridors of interstellar intelligence. "We've received new intel from our operatives on Elysium Prime." Elara nodded, gesturing for him to continue. The tension between them was palpable, a taut wire strung tight by suspicion and necessity. "The Xel'Naga Dominion is mobilizing near the artifact's last known coordinates," Kale said, his eyes flickering with a hint of something unreadable. "They're moving faster than anticipated." "Then we need to be faster," Elara replied, her voice steady despite the storm brewing within her. "What's our window?" "Less than 72 hours before they reach the site." Kale's expression was inscrutable, but Elara detected an undercurrent of urgency in his tone. "We have to act now if we're going to secure it first." She studied him for a moment, weighing his words against the unspoken doubts that lingered like shadows at the edge of her mind. "And your assessment? Is this intel reliable?" Kale met her gaze evenly. "It's solid. Our source has been accurate before." "Yet you hesitate." Elara's eyes narrowed slightly, searching for cracks in his composure. A pause stretched between them, fraught with unvoiced implications. "It's not hesitation, Commander," Kale said finally. "It's caution. The stakes are higher than ever." Elara turned away, staring at the stars once more. Trust was a fragile thing, easily shattered and difficult to rebuild. But in this game of cosmic chess, every move mattered, and she needed Kale's insights as much as she needed to keep him within her sights. "Very well," she said. "Prepare the team for departure. We leave at first light." Kale nodded, but as he left the room, Elara couldn't shake the feeling that each step he took was a calculated maneuver in a game she didn't fully understand. The command center faded into the background as Elara made her way to the briefing room. Her team awaited her, each member handpicked for their skills and potential, yet each harboring secrets that could unravel their mission from within. Dr. Kalen Rice stood near the viewport, eyes distant as he pondered the mysteries of the artifact. His presence was both a boon and a burden, his knowledge invaluable, his obsession with the artifact troubling. "Dr. Rice," Elara called, drawing his attention back to the present. "Any updates on your research?" Kalen turned, his expression thoughtful. "The artifact's energy signature is unlike anything we've encountered. It could be a source of immense power or destruction." "And your recommendation?" His gaze was steady, yet something flickered behind his eyes, something Elara couldn't quite decipher. "We must proceed with caution. The artifact's potential is vast, but so are the risks." Elara absorbed his words, weighing them against the ticking clock of their mission. Every decision carried weight, and every ally was a potential adversary in disguise. As she briefed her team on their next steps, Elara felt the familiar coil of tension tighten in her chest, a reminder of past failures and future uncertainties. Yet amidst the chaos, one truth remained clear: they had to succeed. The hours slipped by, in a blur of preparations and whispered conversations, each moment bringing them closer to their departure. As Elara donned her combat gear, She caught her reflection in the polished surface of her helmet, eyes sharp with determination, yet shadowed by doubt. In the hangar bay, Lieutenant Draven and Dr. Rice awaited her arrival. The sleek form of their starship loomed behind them like a predator poised for flight. "Ready?" Cale asked, his voice steady as ever. Elara nodded, meeting his gaze with resolve. "Let's bring it home." With that, they boarded the ship, engines roaring to life as they launched into the void, a silent promise etched in starlight that they would return victorious or not at all. As they hurtled through space toward their destination, Elara allowed herself a moment of introspection, a stream of consciousness that flowed beneath the surface of her disciplined exterior. She thought of Cale's cryptic remarks and Dr. Rice's philosophical debates, of loyalty tested and trust betrayed. Each conversation was a piece of a puzzle she couldn't yet complete, but one thing was certain: whispers of betrayal would not go unanswered. The journey continued in silence, save for the rhythmic pulse of the ship's engines, a heartbeat echoing through metal corridors and into the depths of space. Elara closed her eyes briefly, steeling herself for what lay ahead. The countdown to catastrophe ticked relentlessly forward, each second drawing them closer to destiny's precipice. In this universe, defined by its absence of certainty, one truth remained. Elara Voss would stop at nothing to secure peace, even if it meant unraveling every secret along the way. As she opened her eyes once more to face the unknown expanse before them, Elara knew that every decision from here on out would determine not only their fate but that of entire galaxies hanging by a thread. And so they flew onward, into darkness laced with whispers and possibilities yet unrealized, toward an uncertain future where victory was both a promise and a price waiting to be paid in full measure. The stars watched silently as Commander Elara Voss led her team toward destiny's embrace, a journey fraught with peril yet driven by purpose, unyielding as time itself. Chapter 3. The low hum of the starship's engines was a constant, a reminder of the mission's urgency as Commander Elara Voss paced the dimly lit corridors. Her thoughts were a tangled web of strategy and suspicion, each thread pulling her in a different direction. The Coalition forces were stretched to their limits, and the Xel'Naga Dominion loomed ever closer, like a shadow threatening to engulf them all. Elara paused at a viewport, staring into the void. Stars blinked back at her, indifferent to the chaos unfolding among them. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for what lay ahead. The artifact was out there, somewhere, its potential power both a promise and a threat. And within her ranks, whispers of betrayal grew louder. "Commander," a voice interrupted her thoughts. She turned to see Lieutenant Cale Draven, his expression as inscrutable as ever. He was an enigma, this intelligence officer who spoke in riddles and saw patterns where others saw chaos. "Lieutenant," she acknowledged, her tone measured. Cale stepped closer, his eyes scanning the corridor, as if the walls themselves might be listening. "I've reviewed the latest data from our reconnaissance drones. There's been unusual activity near Sector 7G, increased energy readings consistent with artifact signatures." Elara nodded, her mind already mapping out possibilities. "Could be a trap," she said, her voice clipped. "Or it could be exactly what we're looking for." "Precisely," Cale replied, his lips curling into a faint smile. "The question is whether we can afford to ignore it." They both knew the stakes. Ignoring a potential lead could mean losing the artifact to their enemies, but rushing in blind could be just as disastrous. "I'll assemble a team," Elara decided, turning on her heel. "We'll proceed with caution." Cale fell into step beside her, his presence both reassuring and unsettling. "And what of the rumors?" he asked, his voice low. "About a traitor within our ranks?" Elara's jaw tightened. It was a question that had haunted her for weeks, gnawing at her trust in those around her. "I'll handle it," she said, though the words felt hollow. Trust was a rare commodity these days. As they approached the command center, Elara's thoughts drifted to Dr. Kalen Reese, their resident expert on alien artifacts. If anyone could decipher the mysteries of the artifact, it was him. But his obsession with it made him a liability as much as an asset. The door slid open with a hiss, revealing the bustling command center within. Officers moved with purpose, their faces set in grim determination. Elara scanned the room until her gaze landed on Dr. Reese, hunched over a console with furrowed brows. Dr. Reese, she called, drawing his attention. He looked up, his eyes alight with intellectual fervor. Commander Voss, he greeted her, pushing his glasses up the bridge of his nose. I assume you've seen the latest readings. We have, Elara confirmed, cutting straight to the point. We need your analysis before we proceed. Kaelin nodded eagerly, gesturing for them to join him at the console. The energy signatures are unlike anything we've encountered before, he explained, his fingers dancing across the keys. If these readings are accurate, we're looking at a significant breakthrough. Elara exchanged a glance with Kael. Breakthrough or not, they couldn't afford to be reckless. Can you confirm whether it's connected to the artifact? Kael pressed. Kaelin hesitated, his excitement tempered by uncertainty. It's possible, he admitted, but without further data, I can't say for sure. Elara considered this, weighing risks against rewards. Prepare for departure, she ordered finally. We'll investigate Sector 7G ourselves. As her officers sprang into action, Elara felt the weight of command settle on her shoulders once more. Every decision carried consequences, some immediate, others unfurling slowly like ripples across a pond. She turned back to Kael and Kaelin, her trusted advisors in this perilous game of chess. Stay alert, she warned them both. We don't know who we can trust. Kael inclined his head in acknowledgement, while Kaelin's gaze flickered with something unreadable, a mix of determination and apprehension. As preparations continued around them, Elara couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the edge of something vast and unknowable, a precipice from which there might be no return. The journey to Sector 7G was tense and silent, punctuated only by the occasional update from the helm. Elara stood at the bridge, watching as stars streaked past in brilliant arcs of light. Entering Sector 7G now, announced the helmsman, breaking the quiet. Elara leaned forward in her seat, eyes fixed on the view screen, as they dropped out of hyperspace into an expanse of swirling nebulae and distant asteroids. Scan for any anomalies, she commanded. The ship's sensors whirred to life, casting an invisible net across the sector in search of their elusive prize. Commander, came Kael's voice from behind her. I'm picking up something. Unusual. Elara turned to face him, anticipation coiling in her chest like a spring ready to uncoil. Unusual how? She asked. Kael's brow furrowed as he studied his console. There's a structure hidden within the nebula, artificial but ancient. Elara's heart skipped a beat. Could this be it? The artifact? Bring us closer, she ordered, her voice steady despite the storm brewing inside her. As they approached the structure, its silhouette emerged from the shadows. A massive edifice, carved from stone and metal, suspended in space like an island adrift in an endless sea. Kaelin joined them on the bridge, his eyes wide with wonder and fear. It's incredible, he breathed. Elara nodded grimly. Incredible or not, it was also dangerous. Prepare an away team, she instructed, her mind already calculating strategies and contingencies. Kael and Kaelin moved to comply, their roles clear in this unfolding drama. One gathering intelligence, the other unlocking secrets buried deep within alien architecture. As they readied themselves for whatever lay ahead, Elara felt a familiar resolve settle over her, a steely determination born from years spent navigating treacherous waters, both literal and metaphorical. This was her element, commanding forces larger than herself, facing down threats that loomed like specters on every horizon, balancing duty against desire, loyalty against suspicion, hope against despair. And yet, beneath it all lingered doubt, a whispering voice that questioned every choice made, every path taken, every ally trusted or betrayed along this winding road toward redemption or ruin. In this moment of calm before action resumed its relentless march forward into uncertainty beyond reckoning. Elara stood poised between worlds known and unknown, between past failures haunting present decisions, and future victories waiting just beyond reach, if only courage held firm amidst chaos, threatening, always at edges unseen yet ever present beneath surface calmness, masking turbulence below. Chapter 4. The cold expanse of space stretched endlessly beyond the viewport, a silent witness to the unfolding drama within the command center of the Coalition starship. Resolute. Commander Elara Voss stood at the helm, her eyes fixed on the swirling nebulae that painted the void with hues of violet and gold. Her mind, however, was consumed by the shadows of doubt that crept into every corner of her thoughts. Status report, she ordered, her voice slicing through the tension-laden air like a blade. Lieutenant Kale Draven, his features partially obscured by the dim light of his console, looked up. All systems operational, Commander, but we're picking up increased chatter on Xel'Naga frequencies. They're on the move. Elara nodded, her mind already mapping out potential scenarios. We need to stay ahead of them. Any updates from our intelligence network? Kale hesitated, a flicker of uncertainty passing across his face. Nothing substantial yet. Our contacts are still working to decode the latest transmissions. Elara's gaze lingered on him, searching for any hint of deception. The traitor within their ranks was still at large, and every interaction felt like a test of loyalty. Keep me informed. We can't afford surprises. Understood, Commander. As Kale returned to his work, Elara turned her attention back to the void. The weight of command pressed down on her shoulders, a constant reminder of the lives depending on her decisions. She couldn't shake the feeling that time was slipping through her fingers like sand. The door to the command center hissed open, and Dr. Kalen Rice entered, his presence a whirlwind of energy and intellect. Commander Voss, he greeted, his eyes alight with curiosity. I've made some progress on deciphering the artifact's inscriptions. Elara inclined her head, signaling him to continue. What have you found? The inscriptions reference an ancient power source, one that could potentially amplify or neutralize energy fields. His voice brimmed with excitement. But there was an undercurrent of unease. It's unlike anything we've encountered before. Her interest piqued. Elara leaned in. Could it be weaponized? Kalen hesitated, his gaze meeting hers with a mixture of awe and caution. Theoretically, yes, but harnessing such power would require precise calibration. Any misstep could be catastrophic. Elara absorbed this information, weighing its implications against the backdrop of their precarious situation. We need more data. Keep digging, but be discreet. We can't risk this falling into the wrong hands. Kalen nodded, his expression resolute, yet tinged with an obsession that worried Elara. I'll proceed with caution. As he departed, Elara allowed herself a moment to breathe deeply, steeling herself for the challenges ahead. The door closed behind him with a soft click, leaving her alone with her thoughts. The communications console chimed softly, pulling her back to the present. She activated it, and the holographic image of Admiral Tarek flickered into view, a stalwart figure whose presence commanded respect. Commander Voss, Tarek greeted, his voice steady and authoritative. I trust you're making progress. We're advancing as swiftly as we can, Elara replied, but time is not on our side. Tarek's expression hardened. It never is. The Xel'Naga Dominion grows bolder by the day. We need that artifact secured before they make their move. I understand, Elara assured him, though the enormity of their task weighed heavily on her mind. Good, Tarek said, his tone softening slightly. Remember, Elara, trust your instincts. They haven't failed you yet. As his hologram faded, Elara felt a renewed sense of determination course through her veins. The path before her was fraught with danger and uncertainty, but she had no choice but to forge ahead. The Resolute glided silently through space, its engines humming with a steady resolve that mirrored Elara's own spirit. She knew that every decision she made carried consequences far beyond her immediate grasp, consequences that could alter the fate of galaxies. The command center buzzed with activity as her team worked tirelessly to piece together fragments of intelligence and strategy. Each operative was a crucial thread in the intricate web she wove, a web where trust was both vital and perilous. Elara approached Kale once more, drawn by the need for clarity amidst the chaos. Lieutenant Draven, she began, her voice low enough to ensure their conversation remained private. Yes, Commander, he replied, meeting her gaze with calm composure. Your thoughts on Dr. Rice's findings, she asked, probing gently for insight. Kale considered his words carefully before speaking. If what he says is true, then we're dealing with something beyond conventional warfare, a game changer that could redefine power dynamics. And do you trust him? Elara pressed, watching for any sign of hesitation. Kale's response was measured but sincere. I believe his intentions align with ours for now, but we must remain vigilant. Elara nodded, appreciating his candor even as it fed her suspicions. In this world of shadows and secrets, vigilance was their only ally. Their conversation was interrupted by an alert from Kale's console. an urgent message flashing across the screen. "Incoming transmission from one of our deep cover agents," Kale announced, swiftly decrypting the message. Elara leaned in closer as he read aloud. "Xel'Naga forces mobilizing near Sector 12 Alpha. Possible artifact retrieval operation underway." Her heart quickened at the news, a confirmation that their adversaries were closing in on their prize. "We need to act fast," Elara declared decisively. "Prepare a strike team and set course for Sector 12 Alpha." Kale nodded, moving swiftly to relay orders and coordinate their next move. As preparations unfolded around her like clockwork gears aligning for battle, Elara felt both anticipation and trepidation intertwine within her chest. A reminder that every step forward brought them closer to either triumph or disaster. The Resolute altered course towards Sector 12 Alpha, its sleek form cutting through space with purpose-driven precision, while Elara steeled herself for what lay ahead, an encounter with destiny that would test not only their resolve, but also their very humanity amid interstellar conflict's unforgiving crucible, with each passing moment drawing them nearer toward confrontation's precipice. The line between victory and defeat blurred ever further. A countdown began ticking relentlessly forward. A reminder that time waits for no one, not even those who dare challenge fate among stars. Silent symphony above alien worlds below, a testament both timeless yet fleeting, as life itself hangs delicately poised upon edge's razor-sharp brink. A dance between light-shadow balanced precariously upon universe's vast stage, awaiting curtain call unknown, until final act unfolds, revealing truth hidden beneath veils shattered by war's unyielding hand. Thank you for listening to My Ghostwriter.